What a fraud, my friends. What a fraud. Yes, it's fraudulent. It's fraudulent. I'm obviously talking about the Holy Knights in this chapter 1175 of One Piece. There you go. It's been years. They're maxing us out. Now they're telling us, yeah, go ahead. The Holy Knights, watch out. Well, okay, we've beaten some people, whatever, but cool. But be careful. There are still the Holy Knights. The Holy Knights will show up. When the Holy Knights arrive, watch out. It's not going to be a joke anymore. Well, now the Holy Knights are here, and every time we see them, they get beaten up. That's the track record of the Holy Knights. It's getting their asses kicked. That's it. They're like a team of Yamcha. They show up, they get their asses kicked. That's how it is. Yet, when we get to Elbaf, they're putting an evil plan into action. You think, oh wow, really? We believed it for a moment. The Holy Knights, you think, oh wow, really? They have cool powers and all, but no, they're only cool against random nobodies. But as soon as the main cast shows up, they get wrecked. They get wrecked. One-shotted, I didn't get it. So either it's really Luffy who's reached a whole new level, forget about it, Zoro too, you see, and Sanji as well, or the Holy Knights are just frauds. It's probably a mix of both because they still managed to block 3/4 of the team. The Straw Hats, right? Jinbei. Has Jinbei done anything since he joined? I'm just asking because I like him, I like his design, I like his powers. Actually, technically, I want to make a side note. About Jinbei, we agree his ability is more about fighting technique. He manipulates and throws seawater, not a special power. We all agree that in the One Piece universe, the kryptonite for Devil Fruit users is seawater. Shouldn't he be the most overpowered guy, normally? I don't know, I'm just asking, I'm outside of the whole thing, but isn't he supposed to be the most overpowered guy? Normally, I mean, if you're sensitive to seawater, well, I can manipulate seawater. I beat you, normally. You have lava, you can have ice, you can have lightning if you want, but I throw seawater. If I fight Superman and my power is to make kryptonite waves, I take him down if you want. Yeah, I went off the rails there. But it annoys me that Jinbei is useless. Jinbei has become the commentator. He's just there. Oh man, my red haired, who left? What? You just had to make fire to destroy the Thorns. Same. I know I'll sound like the bitter guy here. We're just one syllable from disaster with that word, but I'll sound bitter anyway. Sanji comes in, he says, I'm going to burn them, and he burns them, and it works. So here, no one thought to try burning them. You think, wait, no, but wait. Maybe you need a King's Haki, some special thing to destroy the Thorns, because they look invincible, damn it. But no, you just had to burn them, and no one thought of it. I mean, there's an army of giants there. You have the ancient giants, giant pirates, who must definitely use Haki too, in some way. No one thinks, hey, let me grab a torch and try. You never know. Well, no, obviously not, unless I forgot something. There you go, you just had to burn it, and it works. So from there, your power is kind of weak, actually. If it has such an obvious weakness, it's complicated. Yeah, so all this to say that in the end, the rest of the Straw Hats are fucking useless. It's terrible, it's terrible. Even Nami couldn't have gotten us out. A cloud that makes lightning, some bullshit. No, he gets rid of Brook, he leaves his friends behind too. He goes to fight the girl in panties. So, Gunko, you don't know why? There are things I don't understand. Still, okay. Overall, I'm going to be bitter about this chapter. Because actually, there isn't a lot to say about this chapter. The Divine Knights were just a bit much. It was really a scam, honestly, but I understand why it was a scam. I think that, well, I understand why it's a scam, but by being a scam, they also make the Straw Hats look like scams. There you go, because it's not possible that I could take them all down by myself with, well, with the two of them, with Gunko. They managed to beat all the Straw Hats except the Big Trick, right? And the Big Trick, when they show up, we don't even break a sweat. It's like, come on, bam, punch. Even when Luffy lands a big punch, it's just for show. He didn't have to. He lands that massive punch just to make a statement. Otherwise, the rest, Zoro, he just wipes out everyone. Zoro, you say, damn, there's an army of Omireverse giants. We're screwed. Zoro shows up. He solves the problem in 2 seconds. So really, there better be something crazy coming up next. That's why I can understand quickly diffusing this whole thing with the Divine Knights and the trap they set for the kids and all that. I get why they wanted to resolve it pretty fast. But that only makes sense if after that you hit us with something crazy, and here the crazy thing should be like Nidhogg from Omiraverse. Now we're talking. If something like that happened, I'd be like, whoa, whoa. Because then we'd have a mega giant Nidhogg, even more mega giant. Now, the thread has to go up against that thing, knowing there's some history. Here, they're giving us a bit of gold. The AI is giving us that. Yeah, we're keeping this fruit since it can turn someone into a giant depending on who eats it. A crazy giant dragon. So if it's an ancient guy who takes it, it becomes the biggest dragon that ever existed. It covers the sun with its black wings. So it's super dangerous. Plus, it spits lightning, yeah, but at one point it fought against Nika. By the way, why did it fight against Nika? That's the question to ask. Who was the villain in the story? It's weird because at the same time, they're making a theory because that's what it is, a theory of prophecy. But in the previous chapter, Hyel comes out with a prophecy. He was like, yeah, when the wings will be covered. No, what was he saying? He was saying, yeah, when there will be a storm, a snowstorm, an ice storm, when the sky will be covered. That would mean that the dragon and Nika have returned, but they came back as allies. Because that's it. When you see the context, you think they come back as allies. Previously, it seems they were adversaries the last time they met. Why? Who was the villain? Who was the aggressor? Who was the victim? Why were they fighting each other? The sun god and the god of war. Why? Does that mean that at some point we know that the what's it called? We know that Imsama can demi reverse people. So by turning them into villains, does it mean that to demi reverse people have to be on their home island? Loki, on his home island, can he be demi reversed? Is he too powerful to be demi reversed? Is that what they're trying to tease us with at the same time? It wouldn't make sense with the mural we saw, right? A few chapters ago, well, actually a lot of chapters ago, where we see Loki. Apparently alongside Ratatosk there and alongside Nika. Facing a great black creature, which would apparently be Imsama. When you see the creature, you might think it could be the dragon, even though in the previous frame you saw the dragon falling from the tree to the world. Actually, you'll have to put it in the edit so you understand what I mean. So does that mean that at some point Imsama was this dragon and that he isn't anymore? Or does it mean that Imsama hasn't always been the antagonist in this story, if you know what I mean? Because here we're told that Nika faced the god of war and that there was this dragon fruit. And on the fresco, we see that there's this dragon. So was he the enemy of the previous era? Is it connected or is it not connected? If you see what I mean, it's weird. This story actually, it's starting to become twisted, yeah. Or maybe actually at that time, the god, the war who had the fruit, well, he got half overthrown too. Maybe it's possible. Maybe that's it, because at the end of the chapter, Rim-sama said, Nidhogg, so you were there. So she knows what's going on. He or she knows what's going on. They're going to have to explain it to us right now. Same thing. She sees Nika. He doesn't have any particular reaction. It's strange. We didn't have a scene where she had Nika in her line of sight, but visually, but still something needs to happen. So there you go. It's a chapter that really diffuses a lot of the danger that was there. Well, there's something I think didn't work. There you go. I'm being blunt, but I'll say it. There's something I think didn't work. It's I don't get a sense of gigantism with Loki. I said what I said. There you go. I didn't get that sense of gigantism because, well, of the way the chapter is structured, because of the way the chapter is structured, which is complicated. Because, you know, Oda said it, we've already talked about it. He would love to make 30-page chapters, give him those damn 30-page chapters. I'm convinced that if you give me the same chapter with the same events, but in 30 pages, it would be a masterclass. Really? Everything feels cramped here. You can tell he lacks space to let his scenes breathe. The gigantic aspect of Nidhogg doesn't work. That's because he doesn't have the space to do it. I'm still convinced of that. He doesn't have the space to do it. So the design is stylish, it's cool. The moment when he throws his big lightning ball, it's stylish. Damn, watch out, but he doesn't have that feeling of gigantism. There you go. I feel like it's a giant dragon, but not more giant than the rest. I didn't get the size of that thing. They tell us it's gigantic, huge, they tell us, but we don't feel it, I think. Unfortunately, so give Oda his 30 pages, stop busting my balls. I mean, at some point, let him do what he wants. It's Oda after all, damn it. I mean, blue hair winch for Toriyama. No one comments, so he does as he pleases. But Oda can't do that. It's just a joke, unrelated to my point, but I found it funny. Yeah. Anyway, all this to say that, well, we have a chapter, what we call a transition chapter, you know, where we wrap things up. A situation that seemed impossible to get out of, but actually got resolved very quickly. That's why it's a bit disappointing to see how much suspense there is, just for them to show up and solve the problem in 2 seconds. And for me, the only way to make it acceptable is if something really crazy happens right after. There you go. You can't just end the arc and the BAF like that. Something has to happen. Either an unexpected character will show up and turn the situation around again, or Imsama will do something crazy. Because technically it's almost the last one. Elsewhere standing, well, there's the other one doing his mixed martial arts. I think they'll solve that problem pretty quickly too. There you go, something has to happen. Is Shamrock going to come back into the picture? I'm not sure, but there must be something behind it. Right? Because we can't go through all the flashbacks, all the suspense, and end up with, actually, we got them all. One shot, no, of course that's not going to be it, but I hope what he's preparing will live up to the expectations. That's what I meant, because there's a chapter today, this week's chapter, well, it's nice, but nothing crazy really happens, right? Since Loki's reveal, you expected something wild, right? But he just appears, beats everyone, and that's it. Now I want a challenge, I want a big fight, I want something exciting, that's all I'm asking for. Anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say about this week's review. Yes, before we go, let's talk again about Spatule Jump, of course, which is coming out again for this second issue. Let me remind you that it's 5 short stories, an anthology of 5 short stories by French manga artists. It's an independent edition printed in Brittany. There are 2 formats for this new issue. The pocket size, let's say A5, and the collector's edition. Shiny like this is the A5 of issue 0 and the collector's edition of issue 1, and for issue 2, it's going to be the same formula. We've surpassed 100%. That means the project is going to happen, so if anyone was hesitating to order or to take part, well, go ahead. Because now, it's absolutely certain that you'll receive your little premium quality book. Of course, high quality printing, color pages, thick cover, glossy, not glossy, but still stylish, that's it. All the details are in the description and in the pinned comment. And thank you for your support, and I'll see you very soon on SPATULE Bros for new videos. Yes,